it's considered President Trump's first major legislative achievement. Republicans in the House and Senate passed their sweeping tax overhaul plan. Effective January 1st, the new law will bring the biggest overhaul of the U.S. tax code in 3 decades. Of note to pro-lifers, the $1,000 per child tax credit now doubles to $2,000, with up to $1,400 available in IRS refunds for families who owe little or no taxes. Senator Mike Lee of Utah co-sponsored the child tax credit proposal with Senator Marco Rubio. He joins us from Capitol Hill. Senator, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
First off, why was the child tax credit so central to whether or not you supported this tax overhaul?
This provision was very critical for me and for so many millions of American families who rely on the child tax credit and who can benefit from the child tax credit to receive some relief under this bill. We wanted to make sure that we increased the child tax credit to $2,000 per child and to make it refundable, in this case, up to $1,400, up to the amount of taxes paid, including payroll taxes and payroll taxes withheld by the employer.
You've said the previous tax code unduly penalizes parents simply for being parents. Does your proposal change that?
Yes. One of the reasons why I felt so strongly that we needed to increase the child tax credit has to do with something we call the parent tax penalty. It's a quirk of the way that the federal tax code interacts with our senior entitlement programs, Social Security and Medicare. Today's working parents pay into the Social Security and Medicare system twice, once as they work and pay their taxes, and again as they incur the substantial costs of raising children. Because of the pay-as-you-go nature of these programs, parents today, as they're investing in their children, are also investing in the solvency, long-term, of Social Security and Medicare. And this increased child tax credit helps mitigate, offset the impact of this parent tax penalty.
How do you foresee the child tax credit helping families who have a stay-at-home parent, for example?
Well, this is one of the many ways in which people can benefit. Look, if you're a working parent and whether you pay a lot in federal income taxes or even if your federal income tax burden itself is zero, but you are working, so you're paying payroll tax, then you've got refundability going into this child tax credit, and this will help you.
And to be clear, Senator, does the child tax credit include unborn children?
I know that was an early proposal. I believe that made its way in there, and I think it certainly should.
Finally, Senator Lee, on another pressing legislative topic, the Affordable Care Act subsidizes hundreds of plans covering abortion. Now Congress is considering a spending bill to bail out these Obamacare plans, but without the Hyde Amendment. What do you make of that, and would you, Senator, oppose legislation that supports the taxpayer funding of abortion or plans that cover abortion?
I would oppose such legislation, and this is deeply troubling. Look, America's top health insurance companies have seen their annual profits grow from $8 billion a year before Obamacare was passed to about $15 or $16 billion last year. And so there's no reason that I can see for us to take good taxpayer money, hard-earned revenue earned by American taxpayers, and hand it over to one of the most unsympathetic groups in America, America's large health insurance companies. And so this is very troubling on many levels.
Senator Mike Lee of Utah, thank you for your time and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you.
For reaction and analysis, we are joined now by our trusted pro-life expert. Mallory Quigley is Communications Director of the Susan B. Anthony List, and she joins us now. Mallory, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
First off, what's your reaction to what Senator Lee just told us about tax reform?
Well, I'm sure that Senator Lee and all of members of Congress are very relieved to have finally passed this tax reform legislation, and it is a wonderful thing. It's a life-affirming policy to have increased the child tax credit to allow take off some of that burden of families who are growing and providing the future for our country and these young children.
The Susan B. Anthony List was pushing hard for the child tax credit to include the unborn. Senator Lee said he believes that did happen. Did it?
Unfortunately, the unborn child tax credit did not make it into the final bill. We were working with another pro-life stalwart from the West, Senator Steve Daines, who we love from Montana. He was really fighting alongside Senator Lee and others to have that included in there. But unfortunately, because the tax reform bill was passed under reconciliation, so that allows us to skip the 60 votes that are necessary, but it does make the legislation subject to all sorts of other rules at the mercy of the parliamentarian, really, to whether different provisions are germane. And so that was ruled out of order. But long term, this is something that we want to see added. Families, the burdens that are, the costs that are incurred by families don't just start the day the child is born, but this is something that a family begins preparing for from the moment that they find out that they're pregnant, and so recognizing that families start as soon as the child is in the womb. We wanted to expand that tax credit and make it so that moms and dads could have the extra money in that first year.
Turning now from tax reform to another pressing topic on the spending bill, Congress is considering a bailout for Obamacare plans, and it does not include pro-life Hyde Amendment protections. Senator Lee said he would oppose it. Can you speak to the importance of the Hyde Amendment?
Yes, well, absolutely. I mean, it was a really encouraging, though not surprising, to see such a strong pro-life leader like Senator Lee make that commitment. But look, the Hyde Amendment, that is the representation of the collective pro-life conscience of our nation. We should not, even if you're pro-life or pro-choice rather, the majority of Americans don't want their taxpayer dollars going to fund elective abortion. And Obamacare has opened up the floodgates of taxpayer funding of abortion, and we certainly shouldn't be bailing out that program and spending more money to pay for healthcare plans that cover elective abortion.
Nearly 70 pro-life groups, including the Susan B. Anthony list, sent a letter to Congress this week saying they would oppose any spending bill that did not include these pro-life protections. What will the repercussions be for congressmen who were to support it?
Right. Well, this is something a pro-life Congress simply cannot do. We have pro-life majorities in both chambers, and it is critical that we defend the line that's been drawn in the stand for decades. I mean, the Hyde Amendment's been around for a long time. It's saved nearly 2 million lives in the last 40 years. So this is very important legislation. And fortunately, Speaker Ryan came out very strongly this week and said that the House, which is got an even larger pro-life majority than the Senate, that they simply would not accept any language that didn't include the Hyde Amendment. So we're so thankful for his leadership there.
That's very encouraging. Mallory Quigley of the Susan B. Anthony list, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas, Catherine.